So, from the title of the video, we're going to talk about 7 symptoms of adult ADHD. And from my experience, I can say that it's something that has affected my growth and it has affected my performance. It has also affected partly my education. And I'm sure most of the people are affected by it too. Because according to the Google stats or Wikipedia stats, it claims that 5% of the world population suffer from adult ADHD. And today I'll be listing the 7 symptoms, and I'm definitely guilty of number 4. So let's dive in. So the first symptom is difficulty focusing, and that affects most of people suffering from ADHD because just from the meaning, it's attention deficit. And since they have low or they can't sustain attention, it means that maybe during conversations they can drift out, or during classes they can zone out. So personally, it affected me mostly during most of the classes, especially in subjects or conversations where I wasn't as interested. So you find yourself drifting away unknowingly. The second symptom is forgetfulness, and mostly it's mistaken for carelessness, which for people suffering from adult ADHD, maybe it's not. To some degree, it might be carelessness, but not entirely on carelessness, because they tend to forget maybe their phones or where they place them. They tend to forget where they place their keys. So you might find some or most of them having to break locks. So the third symptom is procrastination. And essentially, procrastination is just poor time management. And what that leads to is that a task which was supposed to take maybe 10 or 20 minutes ends up taking maybe 2 hours. And that in turn makes or creates a lot of time wastage. In the extreme end, things which were supposed to be done maybe in a month's time, maybe you have events or you have some schedule, they end up being done at the last minute. So personally, I'm guilty of the things such as KRA or application of help. I mostly tend to do them at the dead hour, which times you find that you can't really beat the deadline. But I think over time I've been improving. So things like KRA, I always do them a month prior to try and beat that deadline. So symptom number 4 is a failure to follow through on tasks. So what ADHD in adults mostly affects people is that you tend to start many projects but accomplish or finish half or none. And failure to complete projects leads to continuous self-doubt, which in turn leads to esteem issues because you tend to have negative self-talk. Symptom number 5 is lack of organization. What lack of organization leads to is disorganization, which in turn leads to procrastination, and which also leads to negative self-talk. So organization can come from maybe how you organize maybe your house, how you organize your books, how you organize your environment. If it's disorganized, it translates to a disorganized mind, and a disorganized mind is likely to procrastinate. And symptom number 6 is restlessness. And I think I'm most affected by these two because what it creates is that it creates anxiety where you feel like your brain is overworking because you can feel like you've opened like 50 to 100 tabs. What it creates in your brain is more of chaos and unwanted chaos because you might have several thoughts but you're acting on none of them. So the last one is hyperfocus. So from ADHD, the H stands for hyperfocus. So as much as this doesn't affect most people, those that are affected tend to overfocus on one thing. It might be arranging a playlist or looking or searching for the perfect song, planning to do something, and the planning might take so many hours and affect the execution of that task because they might take their time over focusing on doing something rather than doing the actual thing. So, what majorly causes ADHD is genetics, and because mostly ADHD is a genetic disorder, and people mostly confuse ADHD for lack of willpower, or if we can say it in layman's terms, laziness, which apparently it's not. For some people it is, but some people it's not. It's just that the brain is wired differently, and you think differently, and you're easily distracted by things that should not distract you. So, from the symptoms, you can tell that people with extreme ADHD they tend to procrastinate, they tend to be disorganized, they tend to start many tasks and not finish them. This in turn makes people to have low self-belief, and this also creates too much negative talk, in their brain or between themselves. This makes them feel guilty, and some end up with regrets because they feel like the ADHD has affected the outcome in how their life turned out, maybe education wise, career wise, or even in their love lives. And with all those negative attributes, from the data, it shows that one in every four people who've been diagnosed with ADHD, they tend to unalive themselves. And three in every four tend to think about unaliving themselves each and every day. So it's almost like a struggle that most people or most adults with ADHD go through. So if you are guilty or if you think you have ADHD, you should go and research more about it. And the more you know about it, the more you can fight it, the more you can resist the urge to unalive yourself. So that's all for today. Peace out.